am I? You are monkey.
You're a donkey.
Oh my God! Students, what is happening? Why are you turning the entire classroom into a fish market? Calm down, calm down. Tell me what went wrong?
Ma'am, he was calling me a monkey.
Ma'am, he called me a donkey.
Oh, only for this reason you are fighting with one another? Now look here, students. Donkeys, monkeys, pigs, dogs, all of them are our distant relatives. That is what the theory of organic evolution says. That theory says that we have got common ancestry and we have got common origin. So, उत्क्रांतीचं नातं आपल्यात आहे, evolutionary relationship. So we should never fight. And students, see, God has given us the birth of a human being, which is the highest rung in the evolutionary ladder. Right? Now we have to make use of this human birth. We have to be very affectionate towards each other. So, to calm down our agitated nerves, right in the beginning, let us say a small sweet prayer written by Sane Guruji. Students, do you remember that just before our prayer, I had mentioned two terms, evolutionary relationship and common ancestry. Actually speaking, these are the basis principle of the theory of organic evolution. Now, scientists put forth the theory of organic evolution. But there were some people from the society who were asking for the proof or the evidences for theory of organic evolution. The search went on and they found several evidences in support of the theory of organic evolution. The first one was called as morphological evidence. Now students, what is the meaning of morphology? Morphology means external appearance of any living being, either from plant side or from animal side. So first of all, we are going to enjoy one nice video and we are going to see the two animals in it. Carefully you see. One is human being and another one is a dog. And you will start asking me, these two things, these two living organisms do not show any similarity. But observe for similarity, external similarities. And then we will be having a discussion on it. So here the video goes. So, students, we have seen the video and we have observed that in the case of a dog and a human being, there are several external similarities. For example, both of them have got two external ears. Both of them have got two eyes which are placed on the front side of the face. Both have got two nostrils. That means these animals show external similarities, so there must be evolutionary relationship, उत्क्रांतीचं नातं between them, and they are showing common ancestry. So this was an example from animal world. External similarities in animal world. Now we will be showing external similarity in plant world. But for that, you will have to accompany me for a trip in our garden outside. So come with me. So students, come. We are in our garden now. Let us observe different types of plants. Come closer. Now this is a plant of Hibiscus rosa sinensis, means Jaswanda in Marathi. Now you will find that every leaf of Jaswanda has got a stalk. This is that stalk. This is called as the petiole in biology. And this is the green leafy part, lamina. And now this green leafy part shows venation, means शिरांचं जाळं in Marathi. So this is the structure of a Jaswanda leaf, right? Now let's come on the next one. Let us take this case of money plant. Now this money plant again has got a petiole to every leaf, that is a stalk of leaf, and then in the laminal part we will have the venation. Venation means again शिरांचं जाळं in Marathi. So the basic structure in most of the plants is the same. External appearance wise, they are showing similarity, and that proves that they must be having common ancestry and evolutionary relationship. After a trip to our garden, we are feeling so fresh. In the garden, I showed you that there are external similarities between different plants which come under morphological evidence. Now we will be seeing the internal similarities, and that goes under the anatomical evidence. Now for seeing the anatomical evidence, first of all, we will have to observe a human hand from outside. Look at this. Our human hand shows basically these parts. From here to here, this is called as an arm. Then we have elbow here, elbow joint, right? Below the elbow joint, we have got this forearm from here to here. And then this is the wrist. And this is our palm. Correct? Now, if we see the bony structure of this hand, then we find that there is a single bone in this part called as humerus, two bones in this part, they are called as radius and ulna, and then there are small wrist bones. Now see this picture for observing the bones in human hand. Now we will be seeing the functions of this human hand. See, we use this human hand for various purposes. For example, lifting up objects, writing on a piece of paper. So many things we are doing with this human hand. But now I want you to see a video of an ox. You will find that the ox is showing four limbs, म्हणजे पुढचे पाय in Marathi, which are not showing any similarity with not showing any external similarity with human hand. And the function is also different. See the function, how fast the ox is running. So students, if you see only the external appearance of forelimb of human being and forelimb of an ox, there are no similarities. But see the bony structure of the ox in forelimb. The ox is also showing single bone in upper part, two bones, but this time they are fused in the lower part, and small bones in the part which is at the bottom of those two bones. So though there is no external similarity, function wise also as well as look wise also, internal similarities are there. Similarities in internal organs are called as anatomical evidence for the theory of evolution. Now we are going to see another interesting example, that is of bat. Vatvagul in Marathi. Now let us see the video first. Look at this. In our daily life, what we call as wings of bat, they are not actually the wings of bat. They are called as patagium. Now what is a patagium? Let me show you. Patagium is a thin membrane of skin attached at one end, look at this, to the side of the body of the bat, and its other end is attached to the forelimb of bat. So we call this part as the wing of the bat, but it is not the wing. It is a thin flap of skin which is attached to the forelimb like this on one side, and on another side it is attached to the side of the bat. Now, if we see another photograph, another maybe video, let us see another one to see the bony structure in the forelimb of bat, then we will find that it again has got one bone in arm, two bones in forearm, and small bones in the wrist part. So again it is showing the similarity in internal organs with ox as well as human being. But externally speaking, it looks different. It looks like a wing, right? And the function is also different. In bats, the patagium is used for flying from one place to another. But the similarity is there in internal structure of bones of forelimb, and that goes under the anatomical evidence. One more example showing similarities in internal organs is that of whale. Whale means Devmasa in Marathi. It is a huge fish and it has got flippers on the side, flippers. These flippers, they don't look like our forelimbs or ox forelimb, but they internally show similarity in their bony structure. So in flippers, in a whale, the flippers are used for swimming as an oar. वल्ल्यासारखा उपयोग होतो. Not only that, they are used for changing the position also. So here the functions are different. External appearance is different, but the bones in all these animals, they show similarity. That means there is evolutionary relationship between them and they must have had common ancestors. Students, after covering the anatomical evidence, let us come on the next evidence, and that is vestigial organs. Now let us see the meaning of vestigial organs. These organs are still present in our body, but they have undergone degeneration. Now they are not anymore functional. They are just lying there in our body, and in due course of time, maybe 1,000 years more, they will totally disappear from our body. So such organs in our body are called as vestigial organs. Now let me give you the famous example called as appendix. Everyone has heard that word, but do you know what it is? Let us see one photograph. So students, we have seen that photograph and now we know that appendix is a worm-like structure attached to our intestine. In normal course, no food is entering our appendix. Sometimes by mistake of nature, food may enter appendix and then there is lot of irritation. We get an attack of appendicitis and immediately we have to get ourselves admitted in the hospital for operation on appendix. Now what is the function of appendix in animals? Appendix is meant for digestion of cellulose. We know that cellulose makes the cell wall in plant products. Who is eating plant products still? Cows are eating, buffaloes are eating. They are eating straw. That means they are eating cellulose. Now this for digestion of this cellulose, the appendix in these animals is very active. But we are losing the appendix function because nowadays we are having cooked food. Nowadays we are having animal products in our diet. That means cellulose is decreasing in our diet. So need to have an appendix is diminishing day by day. Nature sees to it that the organs which are not wanted will not be there in our body. This is called as natural selection. If the environment changes, then our habits change, and due to changed habits, certain organs are of no use. One of them is appendix. So natural selection had seen to it that appendix is becoming smaller and smaller, and it is becoming functionless in human beings. But the very fact that it is still present in human body tells us that we are having common ancestry or evolutionary relationship with animals like cows, goat, deer, means all those animals who are herbivorous. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Students, now let us take one more example of vestigial organs. And that one more example is wisdom teeth. म्हणजे अक्कलदाढा in Marathi. We know that अक्कलदाढा we never get when we are young children. They erupt at the age of 17 to 20 years of age. That is why they are called as अक्कलदाढा, because at that stage you are supposed to get अक्कल, शहाणपण, right? Now these wisdom teeth, that they are actually the third molar teeth. Now here is the photograph of wisdom teeth, followed by a video, small video. In this video of wisdom teeth, we have seen that wisdom teeth are meant for chewing. And when lot of chewing is required, when the food is uncooked, and secondly, when the food is of plant products like hay. Hay is not our food anymore, and we are eating cooked food. So less chewing is required. But in case of cows, buffaloes, goats, lot of chewing is required, and hence their molar teeth, third molar teeth, that is wisdom teeth, they are very well developed and still functional. But in our case, we cannot open the jaw. So the food, actually speaking, doesn't reach to the wisdom teeth. So chewing we are not required to do anymore because we have made the food soft. So chewing is not required. We cannot open our jaws to full extent. So food is not reaching the wisdom teeth. So their use is almost ending. So natural selection sees to it, nature sees to it that they will be eliminated slowly, gradually through a long duration. And hence, wisdom teeth are the examples of vestigial organs. Now students, let us take one more example of vestigial organ. Now Now look here. We have got two external pinna, right? We are unable to move them in this fashion, though the ear muscles are still present in our body. In cows, buffaloes, for taking the sound waves inside the ear, they can move their pinna like this, according to the source of sound. We have lost that ability. Why have we lost that ability? Very simple. First, all the animals were walking on four legs, right? Four legs. But now we have become bipeds, means we walk on two legs, and the front legs have turned into hands, and we are using them for different purpose. So for catching sound waves, we can cup our hand like this, isn't it? So there is no need to move the external pinna like this. Need खत्म हो गया, नेचर बोलेगा इस ऑर्गन को भी खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. So our ear muscles are still there in our body, but they are turning functionless. Some people can move their ear pinna like this, but they cannot move ear pinna as goats or buffaloes are doing. So this shows our common ancestry or evolutionary relationship with cows, buffalo-like animals. So students, now let us go on the next vestigial organ called as coccyx. Now let me tell you what coccyx means. We know that we come under vertebrates. That means we have got vertebral column. And in the last part of the vertebral column, all human beings, they show a bony structure called as the sacrum. And attached to this sacrum, at the lowermost end, is a small triangular structure which I am representing by white chalk just now, because unfortunately in our lab this part, being delicate, is broken. So this part, which is attached at the lower end of the sacrum, is the coccyx. Now it appears to be a single bone, but actually 4 vertebrae have fused to form this coccyx. Now, this particular coccyx is also called as tailbone, because this tailbone or coccyx is functional in the animals which are having tails, like monkeys, cows, buffaloes. This coccyx is functional, and what is its function? To give attachment to muscles of the tail. But in our case, the tail is lost. Now the coccyx is becoming functionless, and hence here, in case of human beings, this coccyx represents a vestigial organ. Now let us see a scientific photograph of coccyx. Presence of coccyx in human body shows that human beings are showing evolutionary relationship with all animals with tail. So students, up till now we have covered 3 evidences: morphological evidence, and vestigial organs. Now only 3 evidences are remaining, which we will be dealing with after our musical break. So time to rejoice. Come on, let us enjoy our musical break.
किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है। किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है।
Students, before our musical break, we have covered 3 evidences. Now comes the 4th one. Paleontological evidence. Oh my God, quite a long word, isn't it? But its meaning is very easy. Paleontology means study of fossils. Now many of you may not be knowing the meaning of study of fossils. What are fossils? So come here. Here is a model of fossils. Now here we can see the earth's surface. On the earth's surface, a dead leaf has fallen. Now thousands of years will be passing and soil will gather on top of this dead leaf. Due to the weight of that soil, impression will be created in the soil below. The leaf will die and decay. It will no longer be there, but still its impression will be left inside the soil. Look at this. This is the lamina, green part of the leaf. This is the impression left by the petiole, the stalk of the leaf. This is the midrib of the leaf. And here we can see fine projections which are actually the small veins in the leaf. So such impressions are left by dead organisms or sometimes due to very cold weather. The bony skeleton may remain inside the soil and such remnants of dead bodies or impressions of dead bodies, they are called as fossils. Prashant, have you understood better?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. So after learning the meaning of fossils, let us come on this model, homemade model again. This model shows the layers in the earth. We know that earth is made of several layers of soil, and this is the oldest layer as the common sense tells us, and this is the recent layer. Now it has been found that in the lower layers there are no fossils, and as we come up, first of all, invertebrates means animals or living beings without vertebral column, they have appeared. Their fossils are there in the lower layers. And as we go up, the complexity increases. And as we come up, then we will find that there is emergence of fishes, there is emergence of amphibians, then there is emergence of mammals, reptiles and aves, and which is all indicating that all the living beings on the earth, they are showing common ancestry or evolutionary relationship. Carbon dating. Let us see what is happening in carbon dating. In a live person's body, carbon is present in two forms, C14 and C12. Now C14 is radioactive, while C12 is non-radioactive. Now, after the death of a person, C14 being radioactive starts decaying continuously. While C12 being non-radioactive, it doesn't decay. So what happens as the time passes after death? C14 to C12 ratio goes on changing. C14 is diminishing after death, but C12 is remaining as it is. So this ratio goes on changing, and depending on the changes in this ratio, one can find about the time which has lapsed after death of that person. So ultimately, वो पर्सन कौन सी एरा में जिंदा था, that we can measure. Moreover, there is another measure also, C14 radioactivity. C14 कितना बचा है, उसका रेडियोएक्टिविटी क्या हो गया है, that measure also can tell you the approximate time of the death of that person. So all these things have to be put on a paper when a short note on carbon dating comes. So how to write that short note? You want to know, isn't it? So come with me. The short note is ready on the blackboard in the next room. So students, here is that short note on carbon dating. Here you will find that I have written carbon dating used in paleontology, that is study of fossils, and anthropology. Anthropology means science of human population and culture. So उस टाइम में ह्यूमन का कल्चर कैसे होगा, वो किस तरह से वो अपना टाइम बिताता होगा, किस तरह से इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स यूज करता होगा, ये सब चीज़ें एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में आती है. So here we go. This is the short note. see. So now students, we come on the next evidence called as the connecting links. Now connecting links means जोडणारे दुवे in Marathi. Now let us see. The scientists have divided our animal kingdom into several classes. So let us take first the example of class Annelida. The earthworm is the example of it. And class Arthropoda, example is cockroach. Now in class Annelida, we find segmented body. म्हणजे असे गोल गोल चक्राकृती सेगमेंट तुकड्या तुकड्या सारखी बॉडी दिसते. Now earthworm means गांडूळ in Marathi, and we have seen that गांडूळ every time in rainy season. Now in class Arthropoda, there is tracheal respiration and open circulation. Open circulation means the blood vessels are not present in the body. So there is one animal, students, called as peripatus. Which lies in between these two groups. Means it will show segmented body like earthworm, but at the same time it will show respiration by trachea and open circulation. So this suggests that these two classes, class Annelida and class Arthropoda, they are showing evolutionary relationship, and peripatus is the connecting link between these two classes of animals. Now students, let us take another example of connecting links. Here are two classes. If you cannot see, come closer. Class Pisces. The example is Scoliodon, that is shark in Marathi. All fishes come under class Pisces, and all fishes, they respire by gills. There is another class called as class Amphibia, means Ubhayachara Prani in Marathi. They can live on land and they can live in water also. They can live on land because they can respire by lungs like us. The example is that of frog. Now students, there is one animal called as lungfish. Who lies in between these two classes, because it can show respiration by gills, just like Pisces, and it can show respiration by lungs also, just like Amphibia. So lungfish is a connecting link, जोडणारा दुवा. Now the third example of connecting link, that is called as duck-billed platypus. it shows intermediate features between class Reptilia and class Mammalia. Class Reptilia means serpentine prani like snakes. Most of the snakes lay eggs. And class Mammalia means Sastana prani in Marathi, and they show hairs and presence of mammary glands for giving milk to their young ones. Example is all human beings, right? There is this animal, peculiar animal called as duck-billed platypus, and it lays eggs, but at the same time, like mammal, it will show hair and mammary glands also. That means it is a connecting link. Now we are going to see beautiful videos on peripatus, lungfish and duck-billed platypus, so that we at least come to know what they look like. So here we go. Ready? So students, the first video is on peripatus. Now we come on the second video clip, and it is that of lungfish.
Out of water, death is usually inevitable. But these fish are not gulping air in vain. Their swim bladder forms a crude lung, allowing them to take in oxygen directly from.
And now, very cute duck-billed platypus video. So after completing the connecting links, we will be coming on the sixth evidence. Sixth evidence is called as embryological evidence. Now right in the beginning, let us see one chart showing embryos of different animals in different stages of development, and see the similarities in the beginning and dissimilarities at the end. So students, the chart which we saw just now showed us that embryos of different animals are showing similar external features in the beginning of the pregnancy. For example, most of the embryo, they have got this hammer-like head and C-shaped body. All of them, most of them, they are having this type of a structure, external feature in the beginning. You won't be able to make out the embryos of different animals at this stage. If you take these embryos in a petri dish, then you cannot make out that this is the embryo of human, this is the embryo of pig. All of them look alike. But as the pregnancy goes ahead, the dissimilarities become apparent. But the very fact that the embryos show similarity in the beginning, they confirm the theory of organic evolution. They state that yes, there is definitely evolutionary relationship between all of us. All of us must have had common ancestor. So students, up till now we covered evidences like morphological, anatomical, vestigial organ, paleontological, connecting links and embryological. Right? Now all these evidences support the principles of theory of organic evolution. Now what are these principles of theory of organic evolution? Here we go. I will show you a chart because that is how you will be writing in the exam. So students, here we have completed the evidences of theory of organic evolution. Now, what is our plan for the next episode? That is episode number 4. We will be covering the remaining part in evolution, that is Darwinism, Lamarckism. Again, a very interesting part. Till then, as usual, I am sure that you will be taking care of yourself. Study also, and recreation is also essential. Keep it in mind. So till then, till episode number 4. Bye bye.
चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहां गम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले एक ऐसे गगन के तले